Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. I've got my Erebus t-shirt on today because this is the launch video for Erebus number 4, the Erebus Origin GMT. As the name suggests, it's a four-handed version of our first watch, the Origin. But Stephen and I didn't just slap an NH34 in the back and go to the pub. We completely reproportioned the watch with new bezel insert, new crystal, new dial, new hands and a new bracelet. And then we went to the pub. Pre-orders for this one are now open on the erebuswatches.com website. I will of course leave a link in the description of the video. Now I have two bits of good news today. The first is it's a really short pre-order. We have 600 pieces across all of the different colour versions already underway. They're almost finished. So if you are one of the first 600 people to order an Origin GMT, you get delivery next month, November 2024. If you're not one of the first 600, then it will be February 2025, which will make it a normal duration pre-order. So basically, if you want one quick, get your order in quick. The second bit of good news is the prices on these are as low as ever. They start from only $349 plus shipping. Now, as always, we love to give you all options. We launched 8 Origins, 12 Ascents and 10 Origin 38s, and this time we are offering 8 different choices of Origin GMT grouped into 2 ranges. First, what we're calling the Classic range, featuring classic black, blue and white versions with single colour ceramic bezels and the same curved H-link bracelet that featured on the 3-hander. We also have a purple dial with all brushed stainless steel bezel that we think looks fantastic. And then we have what we're calling the Premium range, all featuring for the first time on an Origin an all brushed J-style bracelet and probably the watch's biggest highlight, a custom manufactured, fully loomed, sandblasted bi-colour ceramic bezel insert. You can get the premium model in Coke, Pepsi, Polar Pepsi or Batman colour versions, all of which we think look absolutely stunning. Now with the Erebus Ascent, I guess it was the hands that were the standout feature. They were disproportionately expensive for the retail price of the watch, but we knew that we had to spec up the hands because they made the whole thing look really expensive. And it's the same on the Origin GMT with those bi-colour ceramic bezel inserts. We've been through several rounds of prototypes with this model. We tried bi-colour sapphire bezel inserts, but they just didn't work with the style of the watch. So we went back to our production partner and insisted that they make these beautiful bi-colour bezels for us, which they did. For a price. The cost price on these, the price we pay for them, is almost $30 US, but we think they are well worth it. We think they really make the watch, and there is no other brand doing a bezel like this for under $400 US like we are. But let's bring it back a bit and have a look at the packaging and then discuss dimensions and specifications. So all Erebus watches that we've sold so far have shipped in these branded black travel cases. I've seen just about every form of packaging possible, and I think these are the best solution. Not only do they protect the watch perfectly in transit, but they're also quite useful to take 2 fully protected watches with you when you're traveling. Inside you'll find a polishing cloth, Erebus branded screwdriver, 2-year warranty and a small picture of 2 grinning idiots saying thank you very much for buying one of our watches. In terms of dimensions then, it's the same basic case shape as the Origin 41, so it has the same basic dimensions as the Origin 41, those being, oddly enough, 41mm in diameter. Thickness is slightly increased because of the 4th hand, but still comes in at under 13mm at 12.9mm. Lug to lug is unchanged and is a nicely wearable 47mm, lug width is 20mm. Both of the bracelets, the H-link and the J-style, taper from 20 to 18 and back up to 20 at the clasp. As sized for my average size wrist, they're within a couple of grams of each other at 160 grams. Water resistance is unchanged at 200 meters, crystal is flat sapphire with 6 layers of anti-reflective undercoating, and the movement in the back, as discussed, is the Seiko NH34. With the Origin being powered by the NH35, the NH34 was the obvious choice for a forehand mechanical. It's a 24 jewel Haken hand winding auto with a roughly 40-hour power reserve. They may not be the most exciting movements in the world, but they're up there with the most reliable. We shipped a lot of Origin 41s in February this year, and since then we have only had a handful of movement-based warranty claims. Now it's a collar GMT, so you adjust the home time first and then the GMT hand. You wind the crown forwards to adjust the GMT complication, you wind the crown backwards to adjust the date complication. While collars may not be as pure as true GMTs, they're a damn sight easier to wear as part of a collection because they feature a quick set date complication. Of course, we switched the bezel from 120 click unidirectional dive time to a 24 click bidirectional GMT bezel. Bezel action is a tactile delight, I promise you. And have a look at what I meant earlier on when I said we redesigned and reproportioned the whole watch rather than just slapping a fourth hand on it. Here is the classic black Origin GMT next to a classic black Origin 41. You can see that the GMT's bezel insert is considerably thicker, meaning the crystal is smaller, the dial is smaller, the hands are smaller, but the watch is no less legible. You can also see we added a printed frame around the date complication at the 6 to balance out the new applied two-piece Erebus logo. It's still an Origin though, it's still a tool watch, there are no polished surfaces anywhere on the head of the watch, on the bracelet or on the clasp, but we just wanted the GMT to look a little bit richer, hence those changes. Let's have a look at the bracelets then. Well, the classic model features the same H-link as the Origin 41, but we have added a small comfort chamfer on the underside so it wears even better. Solid links of course, quick release end links, there are screws holding it all together, and an Erebus branded on the fly adjustable clasp with around a centimetre of adjustment available across 5 positions. The premium model, as discussed, features a new J-style bracelet, but because the Origin is still a tool watch, we made the J-style bracelet all brushed. That is not something you see very often, but it's a really, really nice effect. Again, it adds richness and character without making the whole thing overly shiny like a J-style bracelet sometimes can. This one also features the comfort chamfer, and yes, the bracelets are interchangeable with the Origin 41, and yes, they will be available for purchase separately in the future in case you're wondering. Alright, let's have a look at the colours then, starting with the 4 classic models, and it doesn't get more classic than the watch on my wrist today, the black, but with just a little bit of red to break it up a touch. So red 20 ATM text, red 5-minute markers around the edges of the dial, red tip to the black second hand, and red GMT hand. We have prototyped a monochrome Origin in the past, but we felt that these red accents really give the whole design such a lift. And that tiny little bit of colour in the form of the GMT hand does exactly the same thing for the classic blue version. It remains super legible and easy to read, but the applied logo and the red hand are just 2 small changes that make a big difference to the visual impact of the watch. Classic watch also gets a little splash of colour, but this time orange rather than red. Now this is the same colour and the same texture as featured on both the Origin 41 and Origin 38 white. As such, it has a slight silvery sheen from certain angles. It is definitely not silver, it's definitely white, but it does have a bit of a glint depending on viewing angle. We do have a more pure white option coming up though, if you prefer. But if you want something doubly different, then what about purple dial with yellow accents and a stainless steel bezel insert? This is the same combo as we used on the Origin 41 purple, but with a switch to an all brushed stainless steel bezel insert. Do note though that the steel bezel insert is paint filled and not lume filled, so this one only features lume on the dial and the hands rather than across the board. It really does look pretty sharp though, even if I say so myself. So those are the 4 classic colours. They're $349 USD plus shipping. Aussies, you get your own price, $499 AUD, including shipping on those ones. The premium range is slightly more expensive. They are $389 US plus shipping. That is 559 Aussie dollars for the locals. But we think these bezel inserts are worth that little bit of extra expenditure because they look fantastic. My personal favourite is the Coke style. Black dial, black top half, red bottom half. Again, the same red accents feature on the dial and the GMT hand. I just don't think that this looks like a sub $400 watch at all, especially when combined with that proper 5-link all-brush J-style bracelet. Now, Stephen is a big blue dial guy, so we not only have a classic blue, but we have a Pepsi bicolor and a Batman bicolor. So you get plenty of choice today if you also like blue dials. So you can pick between blue and red bezels and black and blue bezels, the darker of the colours of course being at the top half of the dial, as is traditional to denote nighttime. But like I said, we did want to add one pure white dial version to the range, so we added a Polar Pepsi. This doesn't have the silver hues of the classic watch, therefore it has a much crisper shade of white but slightly less texture on the dial. Now, it sacrifices nothing in terms of legibility because of the black surrounds to the hands and the indices, and of course, like all of the ceramic bezel inserts on both ranges, After Dark legibility is also pretty awesome. That is as much BGW9 as we could pack into the hands, the indices and the ceramic bezel inserts. I would not be able to show my face in public again if my own brand of watches had poor lume, so the lume on my own brand of watches is anything but poor. What else? Well, we are offering the full range of strap packs again to complement these watches, and we now have 5 different packs available depending on your colour and style preference. All straps feature quick release spring bars and Erebus branded all brushed hardware. We have sport strap packs consisting of 1 FKM rubber, 1 silicone and 1 nylon military style. These are $35 for all 3 straps. We also now offer either black or brown leather strap packs featuring 2 different types of 2-piece leather strap and 1 leather military style strap. They are $45 again for all 3 straps when purchased with a watch. Like I said, if you want one of these early, then get in early because we only have limited numbers of each different colour version available. We aim to deliver the first batch of these late next month and the second batch in February next year as promised. Now, we are 2 for 2 in on-time deliveries so far. We said we'd ship the Origin in February this year and we did. We said we'd ship the Ascent in September this year and we did. So I feel pretty confident sitting here and telling you firmly about those delivery months. But am I forgetting something? Ah yes, the moans and niggles section. It may be my own watch, but nothing escapes the moans and niggles section. NH34, like I said, perhaps not the most exciting of movements, but it would have made no sense whatsoever to go in a different route with the Origin. The whole range was designed around the Seiko movement. We may well do a Miyota powered GMT at some point in the future, but it won't be in this watch, it won't be in an Origin. Perhaps it will be in an Origin 2, or perhaps it will be an entirely different range of watches. Now, we think the prices are really good for what's actually on offer, but do be aware that depending on where in the world you are purchasing from, you may be subject to importation taxes and duties at the point of delivery. And Jody, why no orange? Why no red? Why isn't it 42mm? Why isn't it 39mm? Why isn't it made of titanium? And why isn't it a chiming tourbillon minute repeater? Unfortunately, we have come to realise that we cannot please all of the people all of the time, but we do have plenty of new models already in the works for 2025. So if you don't fancy this one, stay tuned for future models. Steve and I are delighted with how the Origin GMT turned out. We simply wouldn't have released it if we had not been. Like I said, it took a couple of rounds of prototypes to get it the way we wanted it, and we had to push for and then pay for those bicolour ceramic bezel inserts, but we think they're well worth it. And we're delighted that we've been able to make all of those changes to the bezel, to the bracelets, to the dial, to the hands, and still manage to keep the price under $400. There are prototypes currently winging their way around the world, so you can expect some reviews of the Origin GMT from the likes of Peter Kotza, Russell the Mad Watch Collector, and Dave Just the Watch Robinson. Plus, if you happen to be in New York City next weekend, Stephen and I will both be there at the Wind Up Watch Fair. Not only will we have the full Origin 41, 38 and Ascent ranges with us, but we will have 10 Origin GMT prototypes on hand as well for you to handle and to try on. So there you have it. I love making every video, but I especially love making a video about one of my own watches. If you want to see 2 more, click here or click here. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again in the next one.